Welcome to the Oracle. Today, we are bringing you a list of 10 historical African figures that you absolutely need to know about. These are 10 people who have been very instrumental in the liberation and development of their respective countries and the continent as a whole. Let's jump right into it. Number 1. Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia. Kenneth David Kaunda was a human rights activist who fought elegantly against British rule and took over as president of Zambia during the difficult economic time. He invested heavily in education and infrastructure, among others, and made sure basic education was accessible to all children. Number 2. Kofi Annan of Ghana. Kofi Annan was the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations, where he pushed several reforms to make the UN more internationally effective. As an advocate for Millennium Development Goals, he sought to bridge the social and economic gap between Africa and the rest of the world through his policies. He also played a central role in the peacekeeping initiatives of the UN to ensure unity among countries. One of Kofi Annan's greatest initiatives was his Global Impact Initiative in 1999, which is recognized to this day as the world's largest effort to promote social responsibility. He also played an active role in the initiation of the Global Fund, which aims to fight malaria, tuberculosis, and AIDS. Number 3. Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. Politician and anti-colonial activist, Jomo Kenyatta was a major mastermind of the Kenyan revolution to independence. He constantly fought against European oppression in Kenya and had a great distaste for European exploitation of African resources. He believed that the independence of Kenya and Africa at large had to go beyond self-rule to the eradication of Western involvement in the affairs of any country. Kenyatta invested heavily in the educational systems of Kenya and took a step further by eradicating racial segregation in schools, organizations, and all sectors of the country. Number 4. Patrice Lumumba of Congo. Congolese politician and independence leader Patrice Lumumba was a significant leader in the transformation of Congo. As a nationalist, he believed that colonialism was of no benefits to the people of Congo or any other country for that matter. He was one of the founding leaders of the MNC Nationalist Party in Congo, the group responsible for Congo being granted its independence by Belgium in 1960. Number 5. Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. Father of the nation, Mwalimu or teacher are just a few of the accolades by which Julius Nyerere is hailed. He ruled as Prime Minister and then as President of Tanzania, which he left a stable state. Because of his vision of making Tanzania a self-sufficient state, he invested massively in education and agriculture, making education free and accessible to the masses and implementing many projects to boost agriculture. Julius Nyerere was also an affluent speaker, orator, and literary genius who left behind a plethora of books that documented his thoughts and political opinions. He also translated into Swahili several iconic books like The Moor of Venice and Julius Caesar, two of Shakespeare's internationally accredited pieces of literature. Number 6. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia. The revolutionary Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the first elected female head of state in Africa. Ever a patriotic citizen, she received her higher education abroad, but decided to return to serve Liberia, her home country. While in Liberia, she worked as the Deputy Minister of Finance before she was appointed by the cabinet as the official Minister of Finance. Unfortunately, the government at the time was overthrown in a coup d'etat, and she fled to the United States due to her life being in danger. When the dangers subsided, Ellen returned to Liberia, by which time she had formed strong political views of her own, making her a threat, an enemy of the military government. In 2005, Helen won the Liberian presidential election. For her active contribution and for bringing women to the forefront of development, she was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. In 2011, she again contested for the presidency and won. Number 7. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara was one of the greatest changemakers in Africa. To date, some say that he is the greatest leader in Burkina Faso's history. At 33, Mr. Sankara became the president of Upper Volta, signaling the end of the French rule of the area. He would later change the name of the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, which translates to the land of incorruptible people. He cut ties with French colonial masters and rejected all support from the IMF, initiating several reforms to benefit all Burkinabes. He outlawed female genital mutilation, child marriages and other outmoded practices, encouraging citizens to farm and produce their own food and other necessities to reduce foreign dependency. Sadly, he met his untimely death when his close companion, Blaise Compaoré, staged a coup against his government. He will, however, never be forgotten. Number 8. Haillie Sellasse of Ethiopia. Emperor Haillie Sellasse is hailed as the Lion of Judah of Ethiopia. In his early years, Haillie Sellasse toured the continent of Europe to gain insight into the massive developmental transformations ongoing there at the time. Upon his return to Ethiopia, Haillie Sellasse immediately began to establish the revolution of Ethiopia by introducing the country's first ever written constitution. Emperor Haillie Sellasse was successfully able to secure a place for Ethiopia as a chartered member of the United Nations. He was also able to curb the practice of slavery in Ethiopia. This led to Ethiopia securing a place in the League of Nations in 1923. In the realm of religion, Haillie Sellasse is considered the messiah of the Rastafari religion. His deep-rooted religious claims and beliefs have been shared by the Rastafari religion to date. Number 9. Nelson Mandela of South Africa. Almost every African knows the story of how Nelson Mandela and his comrades spent 27 grueling years in prison in their fight against apartheid. After his release from prison, he would become the first black president of South Africa. Mandela gained international acclaim for his activism and is globally regarded as an icon of democracy and social justice. He received more than 250 honors in his lifetime, including the Nobel Peace Prize. He is held in deep respect all over Africa and especially within South Africa, where he is often described as the father of the nation. Number 10. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was a Ghanaian political theorist, politician, and revolutionary who stood for the national and political independence of African countries. He is regarded as one of the fathers of Pan-Africanism. After staying abroad for almost 12 years, Kwame Nkrumah returned to Ghana, then called the Gold Coast, to lead his country to national independence. After a series of upheavals, which the British colonizers of the Gold Coast, he prevailed and became the Prime Minister and then the President of Ghana. Ghana was the first African country to gain independence from their colonial masters. Many great African leaders looked up to Nkrumah's example and began their own march to independence. That brings us to the end of today's video. Be sure to like, comment and share this video and subscribe to our channel to watch future videos. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.